Greetings and welcome to another Pokemon 2019 or Pokemon Journeys anime episode review. This time I'm talking about episode 65, so let's get to it. Episode 65 begins in Ceres Park. Ash receives a letter from the Unova Region. Ash tries to open the letter, but before he can, Sir Fetch opens it by slicing the letter. Sir Fetch's eye even sparkles like, "Don't worry bro, I got you." This surprises everyone, including Ash's Pokemon and especially Lucario. It's nice to see Ash's Pokemon together for once, though it is unfortunate that Dracovish is not present as well. So Ash reads the letter and he sees that Iris is the one that sent the letter. She wants to have an official World Coronation Series battle with Ash. She joined the Coronation Series recently and she is currently in the Super Class. Now I have to say that this is totally random because the episode starts here and Ash just gets a letter from Iris out of nowhere. So I do wonder, how does Iris know that Ash is participating in the World Coronation Series? How does she know that Ash is in the Super Class as well? And how did she know where to send the letter? Because she sent the letter to Ceres Institute, meaning that she knows that Ash is currently living here, but how would Iris know this? It would make more sense if she sent it to Ash's house in Pallet Town, or if she sent it to Professor Oak's lab. Trainers participating in the World Coronation Series do have a profile of sorts, so maybe Iris happened to stumble upon Ash's profile, and maybe this profile also includes a trainer's location. It is never revealed how Iris knows all of this, but I would like to know. Also, it's nice that this episode did not begin with the usual introduction that we get at the start of episodes like this. The introduction that explains what the Pokemon World Coronation Series is, while also talking about Ash's reason for participating in it. And this intro also shows a recap of some of Ash's major battles thus far, and it shows Ash's current rank. We honestly don't need this opening segment at this point, so I am glad that they decided not to include it in this episode so that time is not wasted unnecessarily, which is what happened in episode 60. It means that we can get to the good stuff sooner and we get more of it. So Ash and Goh travel to Opelucid City in the Unova Region. As soon as they arrive, Ash and Goh split up. Ash goes to meet Iris at the Opelucid City gym, while Goh decides to catch some Unova Pokemon. Goh catches a Panpour and a Pansear. This is an Ash-focused episode, of course, but as usual, Goh still gets to catch Pokemon. Goh then says that he just needs to catch a Pansage. Grookey soon points to something that looks like a Pokemon up on the trees. Goh throws a Pokeball at this something, which falls from the tree after being hit. But it turns out that it's not a Pokemon. It's Iris, who was sleeping on the tree branch. Goh apologizes, saying that he thought that she was a Pokemon. Iris then screams that she overslept and she leaves the area by swinging on vines like Tarzan. Goh then says with a dumbfounded expression that maybe it was a Pokemon after all, while Grookey laughs. It's interesting that Goh met Iris in the same way that Ash met Iris. Both Ash and Goh threw a Pokeball at Iris because they thought that she was a Pokemon. It's also interesting that Goh caught Panpour and Pansear but not Pansage. Goh usually does catch every Pokemon in a group. There are two reasons why I think that he did not get to catch Pansage. The first is that he has Grookey already, which is a grass-type green monkey like Pansage. The second reason is that Silence Pansage was shown earlier in a flashback when Ash recalled his travels through Unova. So Goh catching a Pansage would be repetition for two reasons. The episode then cuts back to Ash, who arrives at the Opelucid City gym. Ash soon spots an Axew who happens to be walking nearby. Now this segment was shown in the preview for this episode and I did wonder if this was Iris's Axew, which I felt was unlikely since I fully expected that Iris's Axew would be a Haxorus by now. Ash does think that this is Iris's Axew, but Drayden soon appears and he picks up Axew. Drayden reveals that this Axew is his partner, and he then says that Iris is waiting for Ash inside the gym. I have to say that I did not expect to see Drayden, so this was a nice surprise, though I guess that I should have expected this since I knew that the battle would take place in the Opelucid City gym, which is Drayden's gym. Goh soon arrives and Ash wonders if Goh caught anything. Goh says that he did, and he mentions that he also mistook a girl for a Pokemon. Ash introduces Goh to Drayden and then he gets a notification for the battle, which means that Iris is ready, so they'll head inside the gym. They get to the battlefield, which is shrouded in darkness. Iris's Emolga soon appears and she turns on the lights, which sets the stage for Iris's grand entrance. Iris is wearing her champion outfit, which Ash comments on. Drayden then reveals that Iris is currently Unova's top trainer. She is the reigning champion, which surprises Ash and Goh. It was clear going into the episode that this would be the case, since the previews showed that Iris would be wearing her champion outfit, which could only mean that she is the champion of Unova now. But it is nice to finally get confirmation that this is indeed the case. Goh realizes that Iris is the girl that he met earlier, and he apologizes once again. Pikachu greets Iris by affectionately rubbing his cheek against Iris's cheek, and then Pikachu greets Emolga in the same way. Iris wonders if Ash is shocked to learn that she is the champion of Unova, and when Ash says that he is shocked, Iris is happy because her surprise did work. Drayden then says that after Iris finished traveling with Ash, she went on to battle Dragon-type trainers from all over the world. She also continued to meet and learn about Dragon-type Pokemon. These two things, along with believing in her Pokemon, is what allowed Iris to become champion. Now, this segment is interesting for two reasons. First, Claire is shown here, which is unusual because Iris had a chance to battle Claire while Iris was still traveling with Ash. But Drayden is talking about what Iris did after she stopped traveling with Ash, so you would think that another Dragon-type trainer would show up here. Iris did lose against Claire though, so maybe she had a rematch with Claire and this time, Iris emerged victorious. It could also be that since we do know that Iris did battle Claire, Claire is just here to represent Dragon-type trainers, several of which Iris got to battle after parting ways with Ash. The other interesting thing is that Gible and Goodra show up here. Drayden said that Iris continued to meet more Dragon-type Pokemon, and we do know that she did indeed meet a Gible, which she ended up catching. And this was after Iris traveled with Ash. Since a Goodra also appears here, I think it's safe to assume that Iris also caught a Goodra, though this is speculation as Goodra is not mentioned or seen in this episode. If Iris does indeed have a Goodra, then Goodra is another Pokemon that Iris and Ash have in common. Though of course Ash does not have his Goodra anymore. Coincidentally, the three Pokemon that Ash and Iris have in common are all pseudo-legendary Dragon-type Pokemon. Or in Gible's case, a Dragon-type Pokemon that can evolve into a pseudo-legendary Pokemon. Iris goes on to say that while she is now the champion of Unova, she still does not think that she is a Dragon Master, meaning that her goal is not complete yet. So, she joined the Pokemon World Coronation Series so that she can continue to get stronger. Ash says that he could not ask for a better opponent than Unova's champion, and so he is really fired up. Iris says that she knew that this would be the case, that Ash is riled up the moment someone talks about battling. This makes him a kid. Ash says that Iris is the kid and they get into an argument. This is a classic Ash and Iris situation. Drayden interrupts them to remind them that they are supposed to battle. So Iris switches gears and she says to Ash, "Try and take on my dragon army." Ash says that he will battle dragons with dragons, and he sends out Dragonite, who immediately hugs Iris while making a heart shape with its antennas. Iris is surprised to see that Ash caught a Dragonite and she happily hugs Dragonite in return. Ash then apologizes to Pikachu because he won't use him to battle, and Pikachu pouts because he won't get to battle Iris. Now, Iris uses her ability to understand the feelings of Dragon-type Pokemon on Ash's Dragonite, and her expression changes, which suggests that something is wrong with Dragonite. However, she simply says that Dragonite is very kind, to which Ash replies that yes, it is, and it is also quite strong. Iris then tells Dragonite that they should both do their best. At this point, I was very worried because going into this episode, I believed that Ash's Dragonite would lose. So the fact that Iris felt that something was off about Dragonite made me feel even more worried. I was afraid that Dragonite would lose because there is something wrong with it. So Goh points out that the Rotom drone has been waiting for a while, and thus Ash and Iris get ready to battle. Iris says that she will defeat Ash, which will increase her rank, while Ash says that his entry into the Hyper class is on the line here, so he won't lose. Iris then sends out her Dragonite, and Ash decides to use Dragonite as well. Both Dragonite enter the battlefield, and Iris's Dragonite wastes no time in intimidating Ash's Dragonite, who turns to Ash like, he looks really mean, do I really have to battle him? Ash says that Dragonite should not worry because Iris's Dragonite is nicer than it looks. Iris says that she has been looking forward to this battle and that battling Ash will help her and her Pokemon get stronger. Ash says that he has been looking forward to the battle as well, and he says that they should give this battle all they have, and so the battle finally begins. Iris calls for Dragon Rush and her Dragonite charges forward. Ash's Dragonite hesitates at first, but Ash soon calls for Hyper Beam, which Dragonite tries to use, but it's hit by Dragon Rush before it can fire off the Hyper Beam. And I love Pikachu's reaction, like, what? Now it's interesting that while Ash's Dragonite knows Hyper Beam, it has not been able to actually use the move because Dragonite is always attacked while it is charging Hyper Beam, and thus it has never actually fired off the attack. This happened before when Dragonite battled Karina's Lucario, which was the first and only other time that Ash has called for Hyper Beam, so Hyper Beam has never done anything thus far. Ash's Dragonite ended up falling on Ash, but it soon stands back up after Ash made sure that Dragonite was okay. Ash calls for Dragon Claw and Dragonite goes in for the attack. Iris's Dragonite counters with Thunder Punch. Both Dragonite are about to clash, but Iris's Dragonite punches Ash's Dragonite in the face before Dragon Claw can make contact. Ash's Dragonite then uses Hurricane and it finally lands a hit on Iris's Dragonite, who stands strong. Ash's Dragonite continues to use Hurricane and Iris's Dragonite uses Ice Beam in response. Both moves clash and they end up destroying the ceiling and the roof of the gym. Iris is initially scared because she caused damage to Drayden's gym. She's like, I am going to have to pay for this, aren't I? Drayden is initially shocked, but he soon says that it's fine, so Iris is relieved, like, phew, dodged a bullet there. Iris's Dragonite then uses Dragon Rush again, while Ash's Dragonite stands there looking like it's completely out of it. Ash's Dragonite does try to counter with Dragon Claw, but once again, it's hit before it can attack. I honestly thought that the battle was over right here, but it's not. Ash's Dragonite is down, but not out. Dragonite looks at Ash. It's like Dragonite knows that it is doing poorly, so it wants to know if Ash is disappointed. Iris's Dragonite then looks at Ash's Dragonite like, is that all you have? Ash's Dragonite stands back up, but Ash decides to withdraw Dragonite for now, which is a wise move since the battle was never in their favor. So in the end, Ash's Dragonite does not end up losing to Iris's Dragonite like I initially thought, though it did take quite a beating. Ash sends out Dracovish next, who predictably bites Ash immediately, and I love how it holds Ash with its little fins. I also love Dragonite's reaction, like, what is going on here? Iris says that Dracovish is very cute and charming. She clearly takes a liking to Dracovish right away. Ash tells Dracovish that it's time to battle, and it's hilarious that Dracovish gets serious immediately, and it tosses Ash aside like a ragdoll. Dragonite uses Dragon Rush while Dracovish runs towards it, and I think that the way Dracovish runs is very cool. It totally looks like a Velociraptor. So Dracovish stands firm and it uses Fish's Rend to stop Dragon Rush in its track by biting onto Dragonite's head. Ouch! Iris calls for Thunder Punch, but Dragonite cannot hear Iris since his head is stuck inside of Dracovish's mouth. Dracovish then uses Ice Fang at close range, which is a move that Dracovish has never used before. This freezes Dragonite, and then Dracovish spits out Dragonite, who smashes onto the ground, and he ends up knocked out, meaning that Dracovish is the winner, and it really made quick work of Dragonite. This was Dracovish's first battle too, so props to Dracovish for being so strong, though I guess it helped that its powerful jaw is something that Iris did not account for. And it also helps that Dragonite has a double weakness to ice. Dracovish honestly reminded me of Ash's Gible here, since Gible also defeated its opponents by trapping them with its jaw before delivering a move at close range. Though considering that Dracovish is much bigger than Gible, this strategy is even more effective when used by Dracovish. So, Iris sends out her next Pokemon, whom she calls her trump card, and this Pokemon is Haxorus. Ash is surprised to see Haxorus and he wonders if this is Iris's Axew, and Iris says that it is. It grew to become Iris's strongest Pokemon. This is something that I very much expected, but it was still amazing to finally see it. Haxorus uses Dragon Pulse, and Dracovish tries to use Water Gun, but it's hit in the mouth by Dragon Pulse before it can attack. Dracovish ends up staggered. Haxorus then uses Psycho Cut to smack poor Dracovish around, and Dracovish ends up being knocked out by Psycho Cut. All I could think here was, man, that was fast. Dracovish made quick work of Dragonite, and then Haxorus made quick work of Dracovish. Iris says that thanks to Dragonite, she knows that Dracovish's mouth is dangerous, so battling from a distance is the right strategy. So Ash sends out Dragonite once again, who is still injured from its previous battle. Dragonite uses Dragon Dance to power up, and then it uses Dragon Claw, but Haxorus uses Outrage to stop Dragon Claw, and then it attacks Dragonite as well. Goh tells Ash that this is his chance to attack since Haxorus will end up confused because it used Outrage. However, before Dragonite can fully recover in order to counterattack, Haxorus smashes its head against the ground to snap out of its confusion. This is similar to what Gladiant's Lycanroc did in the finals of the Manalo Conference. Haxorus then roars, and Dragonite stands there like it has no fight left. So Ash encourages Dragonite, who then roars as well. Dragonite continues to roar while Ash continues to encourage it until Iris tells Dragonite that it should relax more. Iris then uses her power to understand dragons again, and she is able to discern that Dragonite really loves Ash, and it's for this reason that Dragonite tries so hard. Dragonite nods in agreement, and Iris goes on to say that Dragonite is very kind. Iris says that her Haxorus was also kind and a little shy when it was still in Axew, but as it learned more and more moves, it started to find battling more and more fun. When Haxorus has fun, Iris has fun as well, so Dragonite should also have more fun when it battles, because then Ash will have more fun as well. Dragonite decides to follow Iris's advice, and it roars to show its newly found conviction, and it smiles at Ash with confidence. I guess that Dragonite wanted to battle well so much that it was overly cautious. It wanted to impress Ash, it wanted to do good by Ash, and this is why it was so hesitant during the battle. Dragonite was not sure of how it should battle in order to meet Ash's expectations. Also, since Iris mentioned learning new moves, I knew at this point that Dragonite would likely learn a new move which it would use to end the battle. Ash wonders if Iris and Dragonite spoke about something, but Iris says that it's a secret, so Ash does not pry any further. Instead, he simply says that Dragonite is ready to go, and thus the battle resumes. Haxorus uses Breaking Swipe while Dragonite uses Dragon Claw, and they both clash. Haxorus then uses Psycho Cut, and Dragonite uses Hurricane on itself, which allows it to block and deflect the Psycho Cut. This is very similar to the counter shield strategy that Ash used back in Sinnoh. Dragonite starts smiling within the Hurricane, which shows that it is now having fun while battling. Iris proceeds to cheer Dragonite on, which confuses Ash. Iris says that she wants to show Dragonite how fun battling can be so that the battle can heat up even more. Ash says that he will show them a truly heated battle, and he tells Dragonite to power up the Hurricane even more. Haxorus uses Dragon Pulse, but it is swallowed up by the Hurricane. Dragonite then sends the Hurricane and the Dragon Pulse towards the sky. Clouds then form as a result. Drayden says that Dragonite can sometimes affect the weather with their power, but never to this degree. Ash then says, "We have your Dragon Pulse." Purple energy spheres start forming in the clouds. At this point I was like, wait, could this be Draco Meteor? Drayden says that Ash and Dragonite took energy from the Dragon Pulse and they used it for a new move. Ash then calls for Draco Meteor, and Dragonite brings the meteors down on Haxorus, who tries to use Outrage to defend himself, but he can't. The barrage of meteors defeats Haxorus, and thus, Dragonite is the winner. Therefore, Ash is the winner of this battle. It's worth noting that this is the first time that Ash has defeated a champion. Sure, it's Iris, so maybe it does not count, but it still technically does. So, Ash finally defeated a champion in battle. I have to say that it is odd that Ash and Dragonite used Hurricane and Dragon Pulse to create Draco Meteor, because it feels like Dragonite did not actually learn the move, and instead it improvised it. But hey, it worked in the end, and this was a classic Ash strategy of doing something insane. So, Dragonite learned a new move and hopefully it replaced Hyper Beam since it has been a useless move thus far. Also in Pokemon Black, Iris teaches Draco Meteor to Dragon-type Pokemon with high friendship. So I wonder if they meant to reference this by having Dragonite learn Draco Meteor from Iris essentially, after she stated that Dragonite loves Ash, meaning that it has a high friendship level with Ash. So Dragonite gives Ash a big hug and Iris thanks Haxorus for trying so hard. Ash then checks his ranking and his rank rises to 99, meaning that he is now officially in the Hyper or Ultra class, and just barely since 99 is the lowest rank in the Hyper class. Since they did not show his current rank at the start of this episode, we don't know how much his rank increased after defeating Iris. His rank was last shown in episode 60 and back then it was 184. So assuming that Ash did not increase his rank since episode 60, then his rank increased by 85 for defeating Iris. And Ash is now in the top 100, which is awesome. Iris congratulates Ash and she says that she will get to the Hyper class soon, so Ash should wait for her. Ash says that they should definitely battle again and Iris says, best wishes, it's a promise. This is a reference to the Japanese title for the Black and White series. In Japan, the Black and White series is known as the Best Wishes series. I seriously do hope that Ash and Iris get to battle again, but knowing this anime, who knows if it will happen. It's unbelievable enough that we got to see them battle in this episode, so who knows if we will get to see this again. The episode ends with the narrator saying what sort of fierce opponents await Ash in the Hyper class, and they show silhouettes of several trainers and their Pokemon. Bee and Graplock appear here, which is not surprising since Bee did say that she would wait for Ash in the Hyper class. What is surprising is that Bolkner is also shown here. I recognized him for his hairstyle right away, but then I noticed that Luxray is also here, so this is definitely Bolkner, which means that Bolkner will also return at some point and he will battle Ash, which is very, very exciting. There are more trainers and Pokemon here, but I can't recognize anyone else. Now this could be because they are generic filler trainers, which is what they did with most of the Masters 8 before, or maybe I simply can't recognize them, but considering all the characters that have returned already, I would not be surprised if these turn out to be more gym leaders or rivals from the past. Which means that Pokemon Journeys definitely has a lot more exciting battles in store for us. But that's the episode. Overall, this was an amazing episode. It was great to see Iris again, and it's very cool that she is now the champion of the Unova region. And it was great to see that her Axew is now a Haxorus. The battle was very, very good and very intense. And it was also very productive because we finally got to see Dracovish in battle. It used a move that it has never used before, and it showed its awesome power when it defeated Iris's Dragonite so quickly. Ash's Dragonite learned Draco Meteor and it learned to have fun in battle. It will now surely be much more daring when it battles, which fits Ash better. Dragonite also showed once again that it is perhaps Ash's strongest Pokemon in his Pokemon Journeys party. Dragonite remains undefeated in official battles. And if you exclude the time when Dragonite was knocked out by Eternatus in the Darkest Day arc, then Dragonite is the only member of Ash's Pokemon Journeys party that has yet to lose in battle. Ash is now finally in the Hyper class, which means that future battles will probably be even more epic. And they teased us at the end by showing us that Bolkner will also return at some point and he will likely battle Ash. It was also nice to see Drayden again. Now, while I did love the episode, I do have to say that unfortunately it was too rushed. One episode is simply not enough to reintroduce a character that we have not seen in years, and so a lot of questions were left unanswered regarding Iris. How did Iris become champion? Did she defeat Alder and or the Elite Four? Did she have to win at the Bertress Conference / Unova League in order to earn the right to challenge the Elite Four and or Alder? What's up with her Gible? Is it still a Gible? Did it evolve? Does Iris really have a Goodra? When and how did Axew evolve? Will she still succeed Drayden as gym leader even though she is now a champion? Too many questions were left unanswered because there was simply no time to answer them all in one one episode. So it would have been great if we got two episodes instead. One for backstory, flashbacks, and catching up, and another episode for the actual battle. Like this, Iris could have revealed a lot of details regarding everything that happened to her after she stopped traveling with Ash. And the battle could have been longer since Dracovish and Iris's Dragonite were defeated way too quickly. But this was still a great episode regardless, and at this point we can't really expect to get two or more episodes for the return of a character or characters, since Pokemon Journeys has not done this yet, and every such episode thus far has felt rushed. Pokemon Journeys is just too fast paced, and at this point I guess we just have to accept it. At least we keep getting cool episodes like this one, which is reason enough to be happy. But that's the video. As always, leave your own thoughts down in the comments below. I hope you enjoyed the video. If you did and would like to see more like it, then please consider subscribing to my channel. I love Pokemon and I love making videos on both the anime and the games. Also, please consider clicking the links on screen so that you can check out more videos like this right away. Thank you very much for watching, and let's meet again in the next video.